Vincent Cross had spent years teaching everyone around him that nothing could make him care. By sunrise, one suitcase would expose the lie. 6:42 a.m. rain whispered against the tall windows of the Cross mansion, turning the world beyond the glass into blurred streaks of silver. Vincent descended the staircase, adjusting the cuff of his black shirt. He expected coffee, silence, a security briefing, the ordinary machinery of another controlled morning. Instead, he saw two suitcases beside the front door. Vincent stopped. Maya Bennett stood beside them wearing a camel-colored coat over a simple dark dress. No housekeeping uniform, no apron. Her natural curls framed a face that looked strangely peaceful. On the console table beside her rested a single brass key. Her key. Vincent's eyes moved from it to the luggage. "Where are you going?" Maya looked at him. "Home." His expression barely changed. "Your room is upstairs." A small sadness entered her eyes. That stopped feeling like home yesterday. Vincent understood immediately. The dinner, the laughter, the insult, his silence. His jaw tightened. "Maya, I left instructions for breakfast in the kitchen. Mr. Lewis knows the grocery schedule. Your gray suits are back from the cleaners." Vincent stared at her. She was leaving him a schedule while leaving his life. "You've planned this?" "Yes." "When?" "Last night." "You made this decision overnight?" "No," her voice remained gentle. "I finally accepted it overnight." That answer disturbed him more. Vincent walked down the final steps. 42 years had taught him how to enter rooms without uncertainty. Men twice as loud became quiet when he appeared. Decisions involving millions were made with a nod from him. But Maya standing beside two inexpensive suitcases somehow made his own foyer feel unfamiliar. "What exactly are you accepting?" Maya looked toward the rain-darkened windows. "That I kept giving your silence meanings it never had." Vincent's face hardened. "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means I kept telling myself you were different when nobody was watching." He said nothing. Maya nodded faintly. "Exactly." Vincent remembered the previous night. A guest had looked at Maya as though the woman carrying his dinner mattered less than the crystal in her hand. The remark had been quiet, cruel. Vincent had heard every word. He had also seen who else was listening. Men who survived by discovering what mattered to powerful people. So Vincent had done what instinct taught him. He concealed the weakness. "Maya, leave the room." For words, he had meant, "Get away from these men." She had heard, "Know your place." Now 2 suitcases stood beside his door. "You're quitting because of one dinner?" Maya's expression changed. "No," she reached into her handbag and placed a folded envelope beside the key. "I'm leaving because yesterday explained every other day." Vincent looked at the envelope. He did not touch it. "What do you want me to say?" For the first time, Maya seemed genuinely wounded. "I wanted you to know without me having to write the answer for you." Vincent felt the accusation strike somewhere beneath his ribs. His instincts rose immediately. Defend. Explain. Control the conversation before it became something dangerous. Instead, pride chose the worst possible words. "If you've decided to leave, I won't stop you." Maya stared at him. A long second passed, then another. Something in her expression quietly disappeared. "I know." 2 words. No anger. That made them worse. She reached for the first suitcase. Vincent's hand moved slightly at his side. "Stop her." The thought came violently. He could tell her the truth. That he had noticed when she changed coffee brands because the old one gave him headaches. That he knew she called her mother every Sunday at 7. That when Maya had been sick last winter, Vincent had walked past her closed bedroom door 3 times before finally calling a doctor because asking whether she needed him had somehow felt more dangerous. He could tell her that yesterday's silence had not been indifference. It had been fear. But Vincent Cross had spent too many years surviving by never showing another person where he could be wounded. Maya lifted the second suitcase. Her fingers touched the doorknob. Vincent heard himself speak. "Then leave." Silence. Even the rain seemed quieter. Maya slowly turned. For one impossible second, Vincent wanted her to see through him. to understand that the sentence meant the opposite of what his face showed. But people could only believe the love they were given, not the love someone hid from them. Maya nodded. "Goodbye, Mr. Cross." "Not Vincent, Mr. Cross." She opened the door. Cold morning air entered the mansion. Then Maya Bennett walked outside. Vincent did not follow. The door closed. The sound traveled through the marble foyer like a verdict. He remained there staring at the place where she had stood. 2 suitcases gone. Key left behind. Envelope untouched. For 3 years, Vincent had convinced himself that caring quietly was safer. Now the mansion was silent enough for him to understand what that silence had cost. He crossed to the console table and picked up Maya's key. His fingers closed around it. For the first time that morning, his hand trembled. And Vincent Cross finally understood something power had never taught him. Sometimes pretending not to care works perfectly. Until the person you care about believes you. Long before Maya Bennett packed her bags, Vincent Cross had already learned the first cruel lesson of missing her. Sometimes you notice someone most clearly when they are no longer in the room. 3 years earlier, 5:56 a.m., the Cross mansion was still dark when Maya arrived for her first morning shift. Chicago winter pressed against the windows, turning the gardens outside into shadows beneath fresh snow. Inside, marble floors reflected the soft amber lights she switched on one by one. Maya was 25 then. New uniform, natural curls pulled neatly back. A notebook in her pocket. She had been told Vincent Cross valued 3 things from his household staff: discretion, precision, silence. By 6:15, she had already discovered a 4th. Coffee. Vincent entered the kitchen without greeting anyone. Dark suit. Unreadable expression. He lifted the cup prepared by another employee, took 1 sip and placed it down. Maya noticed. The next morning, she changed the coffee. Vincent took 2 sips. The morning after that, she adjusted the strength again. He finished the cup. Neither mentioned it. That became the strange language between them. Maya noticed things. Vincent noticed that she noticed. She learned he skipped breakfast when stressed. That he loosened his left cuff when angry. That he preferred the study curtains open before sunrise but closed after 8. She never asked why. She simply remembered. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, the mansion began changing around her. Fresh flowers appeared in rooms that had once looked staged. Kitchen lights stayed warm when Vincent returned late. A plate remained covered when meetings stretched past dinner. A small bottle of aspirin appeared beside his coffee after nights when exhaustion showed beneath his eyes. One evening, Vincent returned after midnight. Maya was switching off the foyer lamps. "You're still here." She turned. "So are you." His eyebrow lifted. Most employees apologized when they answered him too quickly. Maya simply waited. Vincent glanced toward the kitchen. "There's food. Left side of the refrigerator." "What?" "Chicken, rice, vegetables." "I didn't ask you to make anything." "No." Maya reached for her coat. "You also didn't eat dinner." Vincent stared at her. "How do you know?" The plate came back untouched. For some reason, that answer stayed with him. "Good night, Mr. Cross." "Maya." She stopped. Vincent almost said thank you. Instead, "Don't stay this late again." Her expression cooled slightly. "I was finishing my work." "Finish earlier." Maya nodded. "Understood." She walked away. Vincent stood alone in the foyer, irritated with himself. What he had meant was, "You shouldn't be driving home alone after midnight." What she had heard was, "You work too slowly." That difference would become dangerous between them. Months passed. Then one Monday morning, Vincent entered the kitchen at 6:30. His coffee was wrong. Too bitter. The curtains in the study were still closed. Breakfast sat beneath a silver cover, technically perfect and somehow unfamiliar. Vincent looked toward the doorway. "Where's Maya?" The house manager glanced up. "Ms. Bennett called in sick." Vincent's hand stopped above his cup. "Sick how?" "I'm not sure." "You didn't ask?" The manager blinked. "She said she had a fever." Vincent looked at the clock. 6:34 Everything in the mansion was functioning. Nothing was actually wrong. Yet the house felt different. At 7:02, Vincent was in his study. At 7:11, he read the same paragraph twice. At 7:18, he picked up his phone. Maya's number was already saved. He stared at it, then put the phone down. At 7:23, he called his physician instead. Send someone to this address. There was a pause. Who is the patient? Vincent looked toward the closed study curtains. An employee. He disliked how inadequate the word sounded. Later that afternoon, Maya opened her apartment door and found a doctor standing outside. She frowned. I didn't request a house call. I was asked to check on you. By whom? The doctor hesitated. Maya already knew. Across the city, Vincent received a short message. Flu. Nothing serious. She needs rest. Relief moved through him. He deleted the message. The next morning, the house manager entered his study. Mr. Cross. Maya says she expects to return Thursday. Vincent did not look up. She returns Monday. She said she'll be well enough. Monday. The manager nodded. Yes, sir. When Maya returned, she found 5 paid sick days added to her schedule. She approached Vincent in the hallway. Did you arrange that? He looked at her. You were ill. I'm better. The house survived. Maya went quiet. Vincent meant you didn't need to rush back. Your health mattered more. But Maya lowered her eyes. Of course it did. She walked away before he could hear the hurt clearly enough to understand it. Vincent watched her disappear around the corner. For 3 years, this was how he cared. Quietly, indirectly, always disguised as instruction. And Maya kept translating his silence the only way she knew how. By the time Vincent finally understood that kindness hidden too well could feel exactly like indifference, 2 suitcases would already be waiting beside his front door. The tragedy was never that Vincent Cross did not care about Maya Bennett. It was that every time he tried to show it, he made her feel smaller. By the 2nd year, Maya understood the mansion better than anyone who lived inside it. She knew which staircase creaked, which flowers survived the winter light, which cabinet Vincent reached for when headaches kept him awake. And Vincent knew things about Maya he had never admitted noticing. She called her mother every Sunday. She hated driving in heavy snow. She drank tea when worried and coffee when exhausted. She smiled at everyone except herself when she was hurting. One February morning, Vincent entered the dining room and saw Maya carrying a breakfast tray. Her hands trembled. He stopped. Maya. She looked up. Yes, Mr. Cross? You're shaking. I'm fine. She took another step. Vincent crossed the room and removed the tray from her hands. Maya stared at him. What are you doing? Go upstairs. Her expression changed. I can finish breakfast. I said go upstairs. The warmth disappeared from her face. Yes, sir. She turned away. Vincent watched her climb the stairs slowly. He immediately called his physician. Maya spent the afternoon wondering what she had done wrong. That evening, medicine appeared outside her bedroom. No note. No explanation. She never knew Vincent had called twice asking whether her fever had dropped. Weeks later, Maya's old sedan broke down outside the mansion. The next morning, a mechanic arrived before sunrise. Maya found Vincent drinking coffee in the kitchen. Did you arrange that? He barely looked up. You need transportation. I could have handled it. Then consider it handled faster. Maya's mouth tightened. Thank you. Vincent heard irritation. He did not understand why. The worst misunderstanding came that summer. Maya received a call during lunch. Her mother needed a minor operation. Nothing immediately life-threatening, but enough to frighten her. Vincent entered the hallway moments later and found Maya standing beside the window, wiping tears quickly from her face. What happened? My mother needs surgery. When? Thursday. You're going. Maya blinked. I haven't requested time off. You don't need to. I can arrange someone to cover. The house can survive without you. Silence. Maya looked at him. Vincent meant, your mother needs you more than this place does. Maya heard, you are replaceable. Her face became carefully neutral. Of course. Vincent frowned. Maya, I'll prepare everything before I leave. That isn't what I... Thank you, Mr. Cross. She walked away. Vincent stood in the hallway with the strange feeling that he had somehow damaged something while trying to protect it. Maya received a full week of paid leave. Vincent never mentioned arranging it. He sent flowers to her mother's hospital room without a name attached. Maya assumed they came from hospital staff. When she returned, Vincent was in his study. My mother's doing well, she told him. He looked up immediately. Good. Maya waited, perhaps for a question, perhaps for something warmer. Vincent returned his eyes to the documents on his desk. That's all. Maya nodded. Right? She closed the door behind her. Vincent did not see her expression. That was becoming the pattern. He gave, then hid his hand. He worried, then disguised it as authority. He remembered everything, then behaved as though nothing mattered. And Maya slowly stopped searching for tenderness beneath his cold words. One night, she stood alone in the kitchen while rain tapped against the windows. Vincent entered unexpectedly. Maya was laughing at something on her phone. He stopped. He rarely heard that sound inside his house. She noticed him and immediately straightened. Sorry. For what? I was being loud. Vincent looked around the enormous empty kitchen. You weren't. Maya smiled faintly. For 1 second, neither moved. Then Vincent asked, Your mother? Much better. Good. Another pause. Maya looked surprised. You remembered. Vincent's expression hardened almost instinctively. I remember things relevant to my household. The smile disappeared. There it was again. A door closing where one had briefly opened. Of course, Maya said. She put her phone away. Good night, Mr. Cross. Vincent watched her leave. Only after she disappeared did he realize what he should have said. Of course I remembered. Instead, he had reminded her she was an employee. Months later, at a crowded private dinner, that distinction would become a weapon in someone else's hands. A guest would humiliate Maya. Vincent would hear every word. And when she looked toward him, waiting to discover whether she mattered enough for him to defend her, Vincent Cross would make the worst mistake of all. He would care too much to show it. The insult lasted less than 10 seconds. Vincent Cross's silence lasted long enough to destroy 3 years of trust. Friday night. The Cross mansion glowed beneath warm chandeliers while rain streaked the enormous windows overlooking the grounds. 12 guests sat around the dining table. Men in tailored suits. Women wearing jewelry worth more than most homes. Crystal glasses caught the light. Silverware touched porcelain with quiet precision. Maya Bennett moved through the room carrying a tray. She had served dinners like this dozens of times. She knew when to approach, when to disappear. Tonight, however, Vincent was different. He sat at the head of the table, expression unreadable, while conversation moved around him. His eyes found Maya more often than usual. Not enough for anyone else to notice. Enough for him to know. Across from Vincent sat Richard Caldwell, a wealthy businessman whose cooperation Vincent needed for a delicate negotiation. Caldwell had been drinking. Too much. Maya approached to refill his water. Caldwell leaned back. You know, Cross, you keep better-looking staff than most hotels. Maya's hand stopped for half a second, then continued pouring. A few guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. Vincent's jaw tightened. Richard. One word. Warning. Caldwell ignored it. What? I'm complimenting the help. Maya placed the bottle down. I'll bring the next course. Caldwell smiled. See? Well trained too. Silence spread across the table. Maya felt heat rise beneath her skin. She had heard worse things in her life. What hurt was not Caldwell. Men like him revealed themselves eventually. What mattered was the man sitting at the head of the table. Maya looked at Vincent. For 1 second, their eyes met. She waited. Vincent saw everything. The humiliation Maya refused to show. The amusement on Caldwell's face. And, more dangerously, the attention of 2 men sitting near the far end of the table. They were watching Vincent. Not Maya. Watching his reaction. Vincent had survived years by understanding one rule. Never show dangerous men what you cannot afford to lose. And Maya Bennett had become something he could no longer pretend was irrelevant to him. So he made the calculation. Cold. Immediate. Terribly wrong. Maya. Her eyes remained on his. Leave the room. The words landed harder than Caldwell's insult. Maya blinked. Vincent expected her to understand. Get away from him. Get away from this table. Let me handle it when you're gone. But Maya saw Caldwell smile. That smile changed everything. Yes, Mr. Cross. Her voice was perfectly professional. She lifted the tray, walked toward the door. Vincent watched her go. Just before Maya stepped into the hallway, she looked back once. Not at Caldwell. Vincent. There was no anger in her expression. Only disappointment. The door closed. Vincent's face changed immediately. He placed his glass down. Richard. Caldwell looked amused. What? You will apologize. Caldwell laughed. To the maid. Vincent's eyes became cold. To Ms. Bennett. The laughter died. Vincent leaned back. And you will never speak about anyone working in this house that way again. Caldwell's smile vanished. But Maya was already gone. She never heard it. In the hallway, she walked toward the kitchen carrying the tray with both hands. Her fingers trembled. Rachel, another staff member, noticed. You okay? Maya placed the tray down carefully. I'm fine. You don't look fine. Maya looked toward the closed dining room doors. For 3 years, she had defended Vincent inside her own mind. When his words were cold, she told herself he was awkward. When kindness arrived without explanation, she imagined there might be warmth underneath. When he remembered small details and then dismissed them as household business, she told herself perhaps he simply did not know how to say what he meant. Tonight she finally had her answer. When her dignity had been tested publicly, Vincent had chosen silence publicly. Whatever happened behind those doors afterward no longer mattered. Maya removed her apron, folded it once, then again. What are you doing? Rachel asked. Maya looked at the white fabric in her hands. Finishing my shift. Upstairs, the dinner continued. Vincent ended the negotiation early. Caldwell left furious. Vincent did not care. At 11:14 p.m., he walked through the quiet mansion looking for Maya. Her bedroom door was closed. Light showed beneath it. Vincent stopped outside. He raised his hand to knock, then hesitated. He imagined explaining everything. The men at the table. The risk. Why sending her away had been protection rather than rejection. But explanations required admitting why Maya needed protecting differently from anyone else. That meant admitting she mattered. Vincent lowered his hand. Inside the room, Maya sat beside an open suitcase. She folded her clothes carefully. Sweaters, jeans, photographs. 3 years of her life disappearing into one piece of luggage. On the nightstand sat a blank sheet of paper. Maya picked up a pen. At the top, she wrote, Mr. Cross, please accept this letter as formal notice of my resignation. Outside her door, Vincent stood for another moment, then walked away. He believed there would be time tomorrow. Time to explain. Time to repair whatever he had seen disappear from Maya's eyes. He did not know that while he returned to his study, Maya was already folding her uniform for the last time. And by morning, the woman he had tried so carefully to protect would finally decide she needed protection from one thing he had never considered. The way staying in his house made her feel about herself. By morning, Maya Bennett was no longer asking whether Vincent Cross cared. She was asking why she had spent 3 years accepting a kind of care that never made her feel respected. 7:12 a.m. Vincent sat behind the massive desk in his study when Maya entered. No uniform, no apron, just a dark sweater, black trousers, and a folded envelope in her hand. Vincent looked at it. He already knew. Maya placed the letter on his desk. My resignation. Vincent's expression remained unreadable. Inside, something tightened. He opened the envelope anyway. The letter was brief, professional. 2 weeks' notice. 3 years reduced to half a page. Vincent placed it down. You're quitting over one dinner? Maya stared at him. No, then. Explain it. I'm leaving because yesterday finally explained every other day. Vincent leaned back. What does that mean? It means I finally stopped making excuses for you. His eyes hardened. I never asked you to. No. You never asked me for much of anything. Maya's voice remained calm. That was part of the problem. Vincent stood. You have always been treated well in this house. Maya looked around the study. Polished wood. Expensive art. A fireplace large enough to heat her childhood apartment. Yes. You were paid above market rate. Yes. You had paid leave whenever you needed it. Yes. Your hours were flexible. Yes. Then what exactly are you accusing me of? Maya's expression softened with something almost sad. Do you hear yourself? Vincent went still. You're listing benefits. They matter. They do. Maya nodded. But comfort is not the same as respect. Silence. Vincent's jaw tightened. I respected you. Yesterday, a man humiliated me at your table. I handled Caldwell. After you sent me away. He apologized. To whom? Vincent stopped. Maya already knew the answer. Not to me. I was going to make him. But you didn't. He will. That isn't the point. Vincent stepped around the desk. Then tell me the point. Maya looked directly at him. The point is that when it mattered, you made me feel like the embarrassing part of the room. His expression changed. That is not what happened. That is exactly what happened to me. The distinction landed. Vincent opened his mouth. Closed it. Maya continued. I kept thinking your silence meant something deeper. His eyes locked onto hers. When you sent a doctor, I thought maybe you cared. Vincent froze. Maya noticed. When my car was repaired, I wondered if that was you. It was. When my schedule cleared for my mother's surgery? Yes. And the flowers? Vincent hesitated. Yes. Maya's eyes filled. For one terrible second, Vincent thought the truth might fix something. Instead, she looked even more hurt. Why didn't you ever tell me? Vincent had no answer that did not expose him. I didn't think it mattered. It mattered to me. Her voice broke slightly. Vincent's face softened. Maya looked away. I spent years wondering whether I imagined everything. You didn't. Then why did you make me feel like I did? Silence. That was the question Vincent could not survive with authority. Maya wiped beneath one eye. I thought maybe beneath all that coldness, there was a man who saw me. There is. The words escaped before Vincent could stop them. Maya looked at him. Vincent's composure cracked for half a second, then returned. But yesterday, Maya whispered, when I needed that man to stand up, Mr. Cross was the only one in the room. Vincent lowered his eyes. He could explain the dangerous men, the negotiation, the reason showing concern for Maya could make her vulnerable. But every explanation sounded like another excuse for making her dignity negotiable. When is your last day? He asked. Maya's face fell. Vincent immediately hated himself. Tomorrow morning. That isn't 2 weeks. I'm using my remaining leave. He nodded once. Pride again. Always pride. If that's what you want. Maya stared at him. It isn't. Vincent looked up. I wanted respect. Her fingers touched the resignation letter. Leaving is what I have left. She turned toward the door. Maya. She stopped. Vincent had one chance. Stay. I was afraid. You matter more than you know. Instead, he asked, where will you go? My sister lives outside the city. I'll stay with her until I find something permanent. Vincent nodded. Maya waited. He said nothing else. She opened the door. Before leaving, she looked back. I kept believing one day you would say what your actions were supposed to mean. Vincent's throat tightened. Maya gave him a tired smile. I don't want to translate you anymore. The door closed. Vincent remained standing. On his desk sat her resignation letter. Tomorrow morning, Maya would pack the final pieces of her life into 2 suitcases. And Vincent Cross, a man who had built his entire existence around never revealing weakness, was running out of time to learn the difference between hiding his feelings and losing the woman who had spent 3 years waiting to hear them. Vincent Cross had 24 hours left to say one honest sentence. Instead, he spent most of them watching Maya Bennett disappear from his house, one ordinary object at a time. The mansion had never seemed particularly large to Vincent. That afternoon it felt endless. At 1:17, Maya removed the framed photograph from her bedside table. At 2:03, she emptied the bathroom cabinet. At 3:26, she carried a cardboard box downstairs and placed it beside her luggage. Vincent noticed every movement. He pretended not to. From his study, he heard footsteps crossing the hallway. A drawer closing. Tape tearing across cardboard. Each sound marked another piece of her life leaving his. At 4, Vincent entered the kitchen. Maya stood beside the counter writing something in a notebook. What's that? Household information. For whom? Whoever replaces me. The word hit harder than it should have. Replaces you. Maya looked up. That usually happens when someone resigns. Vincent's jaw tightened. What information? Groceries, cleaning schedules, deliveries, things you never needed to think about. I can think about groceries. Maya almost smiled. Name one thing in your refrigerator. Vincent looked toward it. Food. For the first time since the dinner, Maya laughed. It was small, unexpected. Vincent stared at her. He had missed that sound before she had even left. Maya's smile disappeared when she noticed him watching. She closed the notebook. Your medication is almost out. I'll handle it. I already requested the refill. Of course she had. Even while packing. Even while leaving. She was still making sure his life continued smoothly after hers disappeared from it. Maya. She waited. Vincent could feel the words rising. Stay. But stay sounded like an order in his mouth. So he asked something safer. What time are you leaving? 6:45 tomorrow morning. How? Bus. No, Maya's expression hardened instantly. Vincent heard himself too late. He corrected. I mean, you don't have to take a bus. I know. I can arrange a car. No, thank you. It's raining tomorrow. I've survived rain before. That isn't the point. Then what is? Vincent stopped. Again. The same wall. Maya watched him fail to climb it. That's what I thought. She picked up the notebook and walked away. At dinner, Vincent ate alone. The food was perfect. He barely touched it. At 9:40, he passed Maya's room. The door was open. She was kneeling beside a suitcase, folding her last sweater. The walls looked strangely bare. Vincent stopped. Maya glanced up. Did you need something? Yes. He needed 3 years returned to him. He needed another chance at that dinner. He needed the courage he somehow possessed everywhere except in front of her. No, Maya nodded. Vincent remained in the doorway. You packed quickly. I don't own much. His eyes moved across the room. Everything Maya possessed could fit into 2 suitcases and 1 box. For reasons he could not explain that ashamed him. You could take anything you need. Maya looked at him. From the house. Yes. No, why? Because none of it is mine. You were. The thought horrified him. Maya had never belonged to him. That was exactly the kind of thinking that had made him confuse providing comfort with giving respect. He lowered his eyes. Maya? Yes. The room became very quiet. Her face softened slightly. She waited. Vincent had negotiated with men who carried threats behind smiles. He had survived betrayals that would have destroyed other people. Yet 3 simple words defeated him. I'll miss you. His throat tightened. Nothing. Maya's softness disappeared. Good night, Mr. Cross. Vincent walked away. At 2:13 a.m., he was still awake. At 4:50, lights appeared beneath Maya's door. At 5:32, Vincent heard the first suitcase roll across the upstairs floor. He stood inside his study with both hands against his desk. Every instinct told him to solve this. Call the driver. Cancel the bus ticket. Offer more money. Increase her salary. Give her whatever she wanted. But Maya had already told him what she wanted. Respect. And Vincent was beginning to understand that respect could not be purchased after being withheld. At 6:37, he entered the foyer. Maya's 2 suitcases waited beside the door. Her coat was buttoned. Her handbag rested over one shoulder. On the console table lay the brass key. Vincent stared at it. The scene felt familiar, painfully familiar. In 3 minutes, Maya would lift those bags. In 8, her bus would be approaching the stop. In less than an hour, she would be leaving Chicago behind. Maya looked at him. For one final moment, she gave him the opportunity he had wasted all night. Vincent could say it. Stay. Here. I was wrong. Instead, fear disguised itself as dignity one last time. If you've decided to leave, he said quietly, I won't stop you. Maya's eyes changed, and Vincent knew before she touched the first suitcase that he had failed again. Because the question was no longer whether Maya would walk away. She would. The only question left was whether Vincent Cross would finally understand what she meant to him before the front door closed, or only after. Vincent Cross had spent 3 years hiding what Maya Bennett meant to him. At 6:42 that morning, the front door finally forced him to face the cost. Rain whispered against the mansion windows. Maya stood beside 2 suitcases. Her brass key rested on the console table. Vincent looked at her from the bottom of the staircase. If you've decided to leave, I won't stop you. Maya held his gaze. I know. She reached for the first suitcase. Vincent's fingers curled at his side. Say something. Anything. But fear still wore the face of pride. Then leave. The words crossed the foyer. Maya froze. For a second, Vincent saw something fragile behind her composure. Not surprise. Confirmation. As if those 2 words had answered every question she had spent 3 years asking. She lifted the second suitcase. Goodbye, Mr. Cross. The door opened. Cold air swept across the marble floor. Then Maya walked outside. Vincent did not follow. The door closed. Silence. He remained exactly where she had left him. 5 seconds. 10. 20. His phone vibrated. Vincent ignored it. The mansion had never been silent before. There were always footsteps, appliances, staff conversations behind closed doors. But now Vincent heard only rain. He crossed to the console table and picked up Maya's key. Still warm. His hand tightened around it. Then he walked toward the kitchen. The lights were on. Coffee waited in the machine. 1 cup sat beside it. Black. No sugar. Exactly right. Vincent stared at it. Beside the cup lay a folded piece of paper. He opened it. Your medication is in the left drawer. Please don't take it on an empty stomach. Maya Vincent read it twice. The woman he had just told to leave had spent her final morning making sure he remembered to eat. His chair scraped against the floor as he sat. For years, men had watched Vincent Cross for weakness. They had threatened his business, tested his patience, betrayed agreements. None had ever made his hands shake. Maya's handwritten note did. He looked toward the empty doorway. Maya. Her name sounded useless now. No one answered. Vincent pulled out his phone. He could fix this. That was what power was for. Call the driver. Stop the bus. Send someone to bring her back. His thumb hovered over his security chief's number. Then Maya's words returned. Comfort is not the same as respect. Vincent lowered the phone. If he sent men after her, he would prove she had been right to leave. He stood and walked upstairs. Maya's bedroom door remained open. The room looked larger without her things. No photograph on the nightstand. No coat behind the door. No books stacked beside the bed. The closet was empty except for one wooden hanger. Vincent stepped inside. For the first time, he understood how little space Maya had occupied physically, and how much space her absence could take. On the dresser sat her folded uniform. Vincent touched the fabric. 3 years. 3 years of coffee waiting before he asked. Medicine appearing before headaches became unbearable. Lights left on when meetings ran late. Someone remembering whether he had eaten. Someone noticing him without demanding anything in return. And what had he given her? Money, a room, security, Everything except the one thing she had asked for. Respect she could actually feel. Vincent lowered his hand. At 6:58, his security chief called. "Boss, Ms. Bennett just passed the east gate. Want us to keep an eye on her?" Vincent closed his eyes. Every instinct screamed yes. Track the car. Know where she was. Make sure nothing happened. Control the uncertainty. No, a pause. "Sir, let her go." Vincent ended the call. The words nearly broke him. Let her go. Not because he did not care. Because for once, caring meant refusing to turn concern into control. He returned downstairs. At 7:11, Vincent stood in the foyer staring through the rain-covered windows. Somewhere beyond the gates, Maya was heading toward the bus station. He imagined her sitting alone with those 2 suitcases. He imagined her believing his final words had been true. Then leave. Vincent looked down at the brass key in his palm. He finally understood the cruelty of everything he had hidden. Maya had not walked away because he felt nothing. She had walked away because he had made feeling nothing look convincing. His jaw tightened. Vincent picked up his coat. He would not send guards. He would not order a driver to intercept her. He would not force her back through those gates. But there was one thing Maya deserved before she left Chicago. The truth. Vincent stepped toward the door, then stopped. If he found her, what could he possibly say that would undo 3 years of silence? Nothing. That was the answer. He could not undo it. He could only finally stop hiding behind it. Vincent opened the door. Rain struck the stone steps outside. And for the first time in years, the most powerful man in the room walked out without a plan, without an order, and without knowing whether the woman he was chasing would even agree to hear him. Because Maya Bennett had finally walked away. Now Vincent Cross had to decide whether he wanted to bring her back, or become the kind of man she might someday choose to return to. Vincent Cross could have stopped Maya Bennett with one phone call. Instead, for the first time in his life, he chose to arrive somewhere without power doing the talking for him. 7:46 a.m. Rain covered Chicago in gray. Vincent drove alone. No security car behind him. No driver. No assistant calling ahead. His phone sat face down on the passenger seat. He knew where Maya was going because she had told him. The bus station. Her sister lived outside the city. That was all. Vincent did not call anyone to confirm her location. He refused to turn her departure into another problem to control. At 7:58, he pulled into the station. Parking lot. People moved beneath umbrellas. Suitcases rolled across wet pavement. Vincent stepped from the car and scanned the entrance. Then he saw her. Maya stood beneath the awning beside her 2 suitcases, reading something on her phone. Vincent stopped. For 3 years, he had seen her inside his world. His kitchen, his hallways, his study. Now she stood somewhere that belonged entirely to herself. He suddenly understood how different that looked. "Maya!" She turned. Shock crossed her face. Then caution. "What are you doing here?" Vincent approached slowly. "I came to talk." "How did you find me?" "You told me where you were going." Maya studied him. "No guards. No driver." "No," her eyes narrowed slightly. "That must have hurt." Under different circumstances, Vincent might have smiled. Instead, "I deserved that." Maya looked toward the station doors. "My bus leaves soon." "I know." "Then say what you came to say." Vincent had rehearsed nothing. That was intentional. Every prepared sentence sounded like negotiation. And Maya deserved something he could not strategize. "I was wrong." She waited. Vincent continued. "About the dinner." "Only the dinner?" His jaw tightened. No, rain struck the pavement behind him. "I thought keeping distance between us protected you." Maya's expression changed. "From what?" "People who watch me for weaknesses." She looked at him carefully. "Was Caldwell one of them?" "Not exactly. But men at that table were." "And you thought I was your weakness?" Vincent hesitated. "No," Maya almost laughed bitterly. Vincent corrected himself. "I thought caring about you was." Silence. The words finally existed outside his head. Maya stared at him. Vincent felt strangely exposed. I sent you out of that room because I didn't want anyone seeing how much his words affected me. Maya's eyes hardened. So you protected yourself. The answer struck cleanly. Yes. No excuse. No correction. Yes, I did. Maya looked away. And I paid for it. I know. No, Vincent. It was the first time that morning she used his first name. You stood there while somebody treated me like I was beneath everyone at that table. His eyes lowered. I know. You could have defended me without announcing whatever you think you feel. I know. You could have treated me with basic dignity. I know. Her voice trembled now. And then you told me to leave. Vincent swallowed. I know. The station announcement sounded overhead. Maya glanced toward the entrance. Vincent felt time narrowing. I'm not asking you to come back. She looked at him. What? I'm not here to stop you. Then why are you here? Because you deserved the truth before you left. Vincent stepped no closer. The doctor was me. I know now. The mechanic too. Yes. The flowers for your mother. Maya's eyes softened despite herself. You said that yesterday. I should have said it when they arrived. She said nothing. I should have asked how you were instead of ordering you upstairs. I should have told you to take care of your mother instead of saying the house could survive without you. Vincent exhaled. And at that dinner, I should have defended your dignity before I worried about what anyone learned from mine. Maya's eyes filled. There it was. Not romance. Not possession. Recognition. You hurt me, she whispered. I know. I believed you didn't care. Vincent's voice lowered. That was my failure. Not yours. Another announcement. Boarding. Maya reached for her suitcase. Vincent's body reacted instinctively. One step. Then he stopped himself. Maya noticed. You're really going to let me leave? The question almost broke him. I don't get to let you do anything. Silence. Vincent looked directly at her. You're leaving because you chose to. His voice tightened. And I'm standing here because I finally understand that respecting you means I don't turn my feelings into your obligation. A tear slipped down Maya's cheek. She wiped it away. Are you asking me to forgive you? No. Then what are you asking? Vincent looked at the woman he had spent 3 years caring for badly. A chance to become someone whose apology eventually means something. Maya stared at him. Then she lifted the handle of her suitcase. I have to go. Vincent nodded. I know. She walked toward the station doors. 5 steps away, Maya stopped. She looked back. Vincent. Yes. Thank you for coming yourself. Then she disappeared inside. Vincent remained beneath the awning as rain fell beyond him. He had found her. He had told her the truth. And she had still left. For once, there was no victory to claim. No outcome to control. Only consequence. Vincent returned to his car alone. But something had changed. For 3 years, he had believed caring meant protecting Maya from his dangerous world. That morning, he finally understood the harder responsibility. If he ever wanted Maya Bennett to walk through his door again, he could not make her return. He would have to become a man she could respect enough to choose. A month after Maya Bennett walked away, Vincent Cross finally learned that an open door means nothing if the person outside it does not feel free to choose. The mansion had changed. Not dramatically. There were no grand renovations. No expensive gestures. No monument to regret. The changes were smaller. Harder. Vincent started with the staff. Names replaced titles. Questions replaced assumptions. Schedules were discussed instead of dictated. When someone needed time away, Vincent stopped making generosity sound like dismissal. Richard Caldwell never returned. Vincent ended their business relationship quietly. Not for revenge. Not to impress Maya. Because a man who could humiliate someone at his table no longer belonged there. For the first time, Vincent understood that respect shown only to powerful people was not respect. It was strategy. 2 weeks after Maya left, Vincent sat alone at his desk with a blank sheet of paper. He wrote 3 pages, then destroyed them. Too many explanations. He tried again. 1 page. still too defensive. Finally, he wrote 6 lines by hand. Maya, I am sorry I made you carry the burden of interpreting feelings I was too afraid to express. You deserved respect without having to earn it, request it, or guess whether it existed. I cannot change what happened. I can only change what I do next. Vincent, no flowers, no jewelry, no money. He mailed the letter. Then he waited. Maya did not answer. Vincent did not send another. 3 weeks passed. The mansion continued without her. Coffee arrived every morning. It was never quite right. Vincent drank it anyway. Then, one Thursday afternoon, the doorbell rang. 3:18 p.m. Vincent was crossing the foyer when the house manager approached. Sir, there's someone. I'll get it. The manager stopped. Vincent opened the door and forgot how to breathe. Maya stood beneath the afternoon light, natural curls loose around her shoulders. Dark jeans, cream sweater, no uniform, no apron, no suitcase. Vincent stared at her. Maya. Hello, Vincent. His first name. Something inside him shifted. He stepped aside instinctively, then stopped himself. You don't have to come in. Maya almost smiled. I know. Silence. Vincent waited. That was new too. Maya looked past him into the foyer. The brass key was no longer on the console table. She noticed. Where's my key? In my desk. Why? I couldn't throw it away. Maya looked at him. Vincent added quickly, that wasn't an invitation. Her eyebrow lifted. I'm improving. Slowly. I've been told. A small laugh escaped her. Vincent smiled. The sound disappeared almost immediately beneath everything still unresolved between them. I got your letter, Maya said. I know. How? The postal service is generally reliable. She stared. Vincent sighed. I hoped. That sounds more honest. I'm practicing. Maya folded her arms. Why did you end things with Caldwell? Vincent's expression became serious. You heard. People talk. I didn't do it for you. Maya's eyes narrowed. Vincent continued. I did it because you were right. About what? I defended your dignity after you left the room. His voice lowered. That meant I was protecting my comfort, not your dignity. Maya said nothing. I should have understood that before losing you. The foyer became still. Maya looked around. Rachel told me things changed here. They needed to. Because I left? Because you showed me why you had to. That answer landed differently. Maya looked down for a moment. I have a new job. Vincent's chest tightened. That's good. I start Monday. I'm glad. You mean that? No, Maya blinked. Vincent almost smiled. But I'm trying to become the kind of man who can be glad when something good happens for you, even when it doesn't benefit me. Maya laughed softly. That may be the most honest thing you've ever said. Unfortunately. She looked at him for a long moment. Then, I'm not coming back as your maid. Vincent's expression softened. I know. I'm not coming back to take care of this house. I know. And I'm definitely not responsible for whether you remember your medication. I've set alarms. Maya smiled. Good. Another silence. But this one felt different. Not empty. Unwritten. Maya glanced toward the kitchen. Do you still make terrible coffee? I don't make it. That wasn't my question. Vincent surrendered. Yes. Maya nodded thoughtfully. Coffee? Hope rose in him. He did not reach for it. Are you asking me? I am. Vincent stepped farther aside. Then yes. Maya crossed the threshold. Not because he ordered her. Not because she needed the salary. Not because 2 suitcases had somehow been carried back upstairs. They remained gone. Her old room remained empty. Her new life remained hers. Vincent closed the door gently behind her. In the kitchen, he reached automatically for a cup. Maya stopped him. Vincent. He turned. What? I'll make my own. His hand withdrew. Of course. Maya reached for the cabinet. Vincent watched her, then quietly reached for another cup for himself. 2 cups. 2 choices. No orders. Outside, Afternoon sunlight spread across the mansion windows. A month earlier, Maya had walked through those doors believing she meant nothing to the man behind them. Today, she returned knowing something far more important. She did not need to belong to Vincent Cross to matter to him. And Vincent finally understood that love was not proven by how tightly a powerful man could hold someone close. Sometimes it was proven by whether he could respect her enough to let her walk away, and become better without knowing if she would ever walk back. Maya looked over her shoulder. Still black? No sugar. Vincent smiled. You remembered. Her eyes held his. I remember things that matter. This time, Vincent did not hide behind silence. So do I. And the room went quiet, not because there was nothing left to say, but because, finally, neither of them had to guess what the silence meant.